Welcome to Running Down the Clock, where we break down all of this week's big news, events, and controversies from the National Football League. Over the next 45 minutes, we will give you basic fan perspective and opinion on the most important stories and moments happening now. So, let's start the clock. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Running Down the Clock. We are talking about week 2 reactions. I'm here with Poya Ricey, like always. Poya, how about we come out swinging for this one? Anything you want to get us started with?
Oh, I love to come out swinging. Let's talk swinging. Mike Evans and Marshawn Lattimore. I love that matchup. This little rivalry within the rivalry of the two teams, because nobody on those two teams seems to hate each other as much as Mike Evans and Marshawn Lattimore. Because it was just a couple seasons ago, Mike Evans is punching Marshawn Lattimore for defending Jameis Winston, who's now on the Saints, and he's defending his new QB. I love seeing those two go at it. And I get Marshawn Lattimore's side of it. He's the villain, right? Because he'll never be as big as a name as Mike Evans. His team's worse right now. But when they go at it, he seems to elevate his game too. He always has a good game against the Bucks.
Well, he's isn't the DB always like the defensive player is always the villain?
Sure.
In football specifically.
Because he's the spoiler. He's ruining the glory. The offense is the glory.
Yeah.
You know, getting touchdowns is the glory.
Now, so last year, Mike Evans went at Lattimore, or was it Lattimore that went after Mike Evans?
No, I think Lattimore gets under Mike Evans' skin to the point Mike Evans just comes out swinging.
Well, last year or this year?
Always.
So it's
that's the defensive, like the defensive back is trying to get under the skin of the wide receiver. The wide receiver has no reason to get under his skin.
Of course. And then so somebody went up to Brady, and it looked like, did they hit Brady or did they just wave something in front of his face?
No,
they did something.
I think they were talking shit to him.
They're talking shit to him, and it looked to me when I was watching Red Zone, which flips back and forth between games, and there was two other games that were in the red zone about to score touchdowns, and they did not switch over. They stayed with the Marshawn Lattimore Mike Evans fight, which I thought was hilarious because who gives a shit? Go to the actual touchdown.
But I give a shit.
Well, at this point too, like even after, like it went on for so long, but I saw somebody did something like, I think it was Lattimore, John at Tom Brady. I thought he did something like hit him in the head or something, or like patted him or like pushed him or something, because you could see after that Mike Evans, when he's talking to the referee, when he's about to get kicked out, Mike Evans goes, "That's Tom Brady. What the fuck do you want me to do? Like, I have to protect Tom Brady."
From what I saw, Tom Brady was calling for some sort of pass interference on Scotty Miller. He came running over to the refs, and I guess he just Marshawn Lattimore was the one who broke up the play, comes back towards him, maybe like brushes his shoulder or something and says something. And Tom Brady steps to his face. But as he stepped to his face, Leonard Fournette jumps in. Mike Evans and Lattimore, like, if something's happening, it's going to be those two. He runs around and shoves Lattimore out of the way. And then another guy jumps at Evans, who they start going at it. And you saw the rest.
Also, like,
I don't think anybody got hit other than the guy, I don't know who it was fighting with Mike Evans.
Right. But so Marshawn Lattimore is a shutdown cornerback, right?
Yeah.
Is there any better way to shut down a wide receiver than have him ejected from the game?
So I was going to say, like, usually getting ejected is a dumb move, but when you took their best receiver, and they didn't have Julio Jones, they didn't have Godwin, that was a great move.
Well, I mean, if that's what you want to do, right? Like, you want to eliminate their best wide receiver from the game. There's no better way to do that than get him kicked out of the game.
Exactly.
This is a win.
That's that pest, that pest role in hockey. The guy who just keeps, like rubbing guys the wrong way. That's that move for the corner. Yeah, it worked great.
It worked great, but at the same time, that's when the Bucks started to take over and win that game.
Well, but that's also just because that was some of the poor play of Winston.
You think Winston's the one to blame?
I mean, he had a few bad picks and drops, and there was some fumbles, and there was turnovers. There's a lot of turnovers on the
that's
the
what Jameis Winston does. So you're saying that his eye surgery didn't do anything for him?
I think he's a country boy that's not going to change. He's got deep roots in who he is, and
His
He's still
eyesight
he's
is a
still the
problem for
same.
that.
He's still this. I mean, I can't imagine that his eyesight was such an issue. He got that far with that eyesight, you know.
Yeah, I guess so. I
And
mean,
here,
but yeah.
I'm blind as shit. I'm blind as shit too. I need corrective eye surgery. You've been in the car with me. You don't.
Oh,
need
you're a
to see.
terrible driver, but you're also half the time you're asleep.
How am I a terrible driver? I'm the best driver out there.
Well, it's because you can get to where you're going to sleep.
Exactly. That's a
That
good
makes
driver.
you the best driver. I guess it
That's
makes
if I was awake
theoretically it makes you the best driver because you are asleep and you got us there. But
every
you're
time.
also the
Every
worst
time.
driver because you're asleep.
I'm a dangerous driver from your perspective,
From my perspective.
but I'm doing things that you can't teach.
You shouldn't teach. You shouldn't teach.
Anyway, I love that matchup. I want to see them fight. There's going to be another round.
Well, there is going to be
They
another round.
always
So
go at each other. Those two are always going at each other.
Mike Evans got suspended one game for this. Do you think Lattimore should have got anything?
No, he didn't do anything.
He didn't do anything. He just defended himself at that point.
He chirped. That's it.
Yeah.
Chirping's fine.
Chirping
What did he
is
call it? He
fine.
used a racial slur on Tom Brady.
No, let's not start that. Let's not just to say that happened. That's not something we should be doing here. Let's go to a little, it's not another fighting thing, but it's something versus something else. If that's a great segue or not, I have no idea. But did you watch any of the Broncos game this past weekend against the Texans?
No, I missed that one. But
Okay.
I like to revisit my original stance on that division.
Sure.
City.
That's not for right now. Right now, we're talking somebody versus somebody.
Oh, you're tempting me to take a timeout on this.
And the Broncos crowd is trying so hard to get Nathaniel Hackett, the head coach of Denver, fired in his second game as a head coach. They were booing. It was, well, they should have been booing because it was 4th and 2. And the Broncos had a play clock delay a game that got them out of field goal, that field goal would have put them ahead. They ended up winning the game, but that field goal at that time would have put them ahead in the game. But they took a stupid play clock delay game penalty because the head coach didn't know if he wanted to go for it or kick the field goal. Essentially, delay game, got himself out of field goal. The crowd booed. And then for the rest of the game, they were counting out the play clock on every single play. They would start and everybody would just count. You had to see it to believe it. But even watching on the sidelines, I was just like, this guy has no idea what he's doing. This could be the first head coach fired after his 3rd game as head coach. He has to be better next game.
What kind of grace do you give a coach? You know, players drop balls, players throw interceptions, miss tackles, they blunder. Usually they get more than one chance.
But he blew the first game in Seattle. He almost blew this game against the Texans.
What did the coach do specifically to blow the game?
His play clock, his game management, his time management, his play calling was horrendous. Horrendous, both those games.
Right. I don't know much about this guy. Was he a coach somewhere else before? This is his first
it's his first head coaching job. Yeah.
Right.
I don't remember where he was from before, but it's his first head coaching job. And he stinks. He stinks.
So
out of 2 games, he stinks.
Do we start pairing him up with Matt Patricia to get out of the NFL?
No, because we have Matt Patricia, a different type of stinks. Matt Patricia is the worst of the worst. No, I wouldn't put him on with that. I don't know anything about him.
But he's an assistant coach to Matt Patricia on the worst coach's team.
Yeah, for sure. He's there right now. He could be the worst head coach of all time if he gets fired after 3 games. Like you things like this, you can't do 2 weeks in a row. After the first week against Seattle, his time management, his game management was horrendous. And then to do it again in week 2, that is something that you have to change, because how are your players ever going to respect you if you're constantly fucking up all the time?
No, I mean, yeah, that's from a leadership role. You don't expect that from your coach to have that much of a learning curve. Like, you know, these are things he should have figured out in training camp, that like, hey, I don't know how to call the plays. Does somebody else want to, you know?
Yeah, it's brutal, but also let's just talk about the Broncos because they don't look good. Russell Wilson doesn't look good.
I don't know how you convinced me that they were going to be that good.
Well,
I put them at the bottom
they had
of
Russell Wilson.
I had them at the bottom of the division, and you somehow, it's my fault for getting manipulated.
Who did I have? I had Chargers, then Broncos.
You had the Chiefs at the bottom. You had the Chiefs below in the season.
What a mistake that was.
I don't know why you thought that. You thought
because they lost Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, but they were still good. Yeah, but they were still good.
Well, we know that now.
Now here's I'm going to say something which you're going to just lose your mind. Like, it's a good thing you're sitting down. I'm still going back to I like Juju Smith-Schuster from his old days, his original time.
Why?
I'll tell you why. I'm telling you why. Forget all that TikTok nonsense. That's stupid.
But that's the problem.
You're going back to heroes and villains. He was a hero, and I actually usually like the villain. So maybe I'm going to recant this entire statement. We're going to talk
about the same thing again. I know what you're bringing up.
Yeah,
bring it up.
Yeah, the Vontae's perfect thing.
Yeah.
That's a hero guy. That's a guy you want on your team. That's how
did it one time.
One time, but that's kind of how he got known. He made a name for himself with that. Like, what was that? His first season, second season, he did that. And he was a decent receiver then because, they had some other good players. So, it takes the heat off him.
What have you done for me lately?
His team's 2-0.
It's not his team.
The team on which he is the number one receiver.
The team.
Is that a wrong statement? The team on which he's a number one receiver.
I would say that Travis Kelce is their number one wide receiver, even though he's a tight end. He's their number one option.
I agree with that. Yes. But for the wide receiver position, he is WR number one. No?
Yeah, he's WR.
That's the most begrudging yes I've ever seen you say.
Yeah, he's number one. Yeah, he's number one.
Yeah. I think there's a turning point for him. I think he realized that TikTok child is not nonsense, is useless. He wants to be a hero again. Now, I support the villains.
I'm a kind of a villain guy myself, but
I've been a villain all my life.
I'm actually more of a comeback guy than I am villain guy, though.
Yeah. Do you remember when I played a terrorist? I've always been the villain.
Not any of the people listening know that you've played a terrorist on TV. No, people don't know that. If you need to look up a terrorist on TV, Poya played one once, and he kicked a girl in the stomach. That's who he is.
And who were you in that? You were the hero.
I was the guy fighting you. I was the hero.
There you go.
The hero.
I've always been the villain.
So speaking of comeback stories, let's just talk about this guy a little bit because he's Detroit Lions. Dan Skipper. So Dan Skipper is an offensive lineman. He's played left tackle his entire career. And by saying played left tackle, he's never played left tackle his entire career because he's never made a team. He's 28 years old. He was undrafted 6 years now. He's been cut 6 years in a row. The Lions cut him on Hard Knocks. It was sad. It was sad to watch it happen. Last week, Lions had a bunch of injuries. This week, Dan Skipper comes in, does not play offensive tackle, plays left guard, first time ever playing the position. Dan Campbell trusts him. Dan Campbell says, you're the only option we have. Skipper goes out there, plays perfectly, and gets a hero's welcome at the end. Did you see that video on Instagram? Did you watch it? I posted it on my account many times.
I saw it.
That's a feel-good story. That's a comeback guy. I hope he's in the next game.
Yeah. And I don't want to bring Detroit down because we both called they're going to win that game. But when you're reaching for feel-good stories of guys who are perennially cut, these aren't guys that are going to win you a championship.
No one's talking. Hold on. Why would you go to that? Why would you go to win a championship? The guy has played one game his entire career. Why would I think that a guy who's been cut 6 times that was not drafted, that's not playing his regular position, would take a Detroit Lions team to a championship based on a feel-good story? I'm just talking about a comeback. He's Rudy right now.
Yeah, he's Rudy.
He's Rudy. He's just Rudy right now. Because
I'm just saying, for looking at the bigger picture, that doesn't bode well for this team. If these are the plugs that they got to fill in.
What do you mean? That does bode well for the team. That if the plugs they got filling in are having perfect games, that does bode well. That means you have depth. Does it not?
I guess so. But
yeah, of course it does.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is that guys that like this tend to have one great game and then have a massive downfall the next game or 2 games later. So, but I hope he
Usually,
does well.
usually the reason these guys are cut isn't because they're just trash, is because they lack the consistency.
No, see, the thing with him was that he is consistent. It's just that his skill level is not up to what everyone else's in the NFL is. So his consistency and his work ethic are there, but his skill level wasn't quite there. But anyways, no one who's listening to this knows who Dan Skipper is or gives a shit about the Detroit Lions. Let's talk about a different comeback, a guy that you were pumping up in our preview. He's 37 years old. He threw for 307 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. They were down by 20 in the fourth quarter, I believe, or something like that. I am talking about the one, the only Super Bowl winning quarterback, Joe Flacco. That was a huge win. That was a huge win.
Yeah.
Did you watch that?
I didn't, but we had him slated as losing that. I think we picked him pretty good this week, especially compared to our week 1. That was one we got wrong.
Yeah, well, I mean, why would you think after the Browns beat Carolina? I thought Carolina was a better team than the Jets, but I mean, they're down 6 points with no timeouts. They had to go for an onside kick. They got it. And then Joe Flacco comes back and like rookie wideout Garrett Wilson, game-winning score. Like it was exciting to watch that happen, and nobody cares about these teams.
No, because you know that they're not going anywhere, right? These are feel-good stories.
Well, the thing is that the Jets aren't going anywhere, but the Browns should be going somewhere. Like they were supposed to be playoff contenders.
Not this season. We already discussed this.
Right. But after that first win against Carolina, I was
Carolina's not that good.
Carolina stinks.
Carolina's got 2 QBs who nobody else, they're given up on by other teams.
So Baker Mayfield sucks. He is not changed since he went to Carolina. Should they put the kids hurt? Who's the backup now? Darnold? Darnold's hurt too.
Darnold. Is Sam Darnold hurt?
I don't remember.
He got hurt from training camp, though.
I think he did.
I don't think he did.
Put him in because Baker stinks.
Yeah.
He stinks.
Christian McCaffrey's not the same either. I mean, he's missed a good chunk of time, so maybe he's just kind of getting back in the groove. He didn't have training. He didn't have a preseason.
I saw he had one good run yesterday. Let him get his legs back under him. But so anyways, if Cleveland had won against Carolina and then against the Jets this week, kind of would have made us eat our words from the preseason as well, because they could be holding on to that 50% wins when Deshaun gets back to get them into the playoffs. But you can't lose to the Jets.
I think more often you and I were right in the preseason and we forgot about the preseason talk and we made our week 1 predictions, week 2 predictions, and we were wrong there. Preseason assessment was great. We had the Jaguars doing well.
Hey, Jaguars are the only team in that division with a win.
That is such a trash division. Eh?
That is a trash. And we
did have the Colts winning that division.
Yeah, we have the Colts winning.
You called them Super Bowl contenders. I thought that was a stretch. They couldn't make the playoffs last year, and they didn't get better.
Well, they got worse.
Yeah,
but
Matt Ryan's not looking great.
Matt Ryan looks like he's never played football before. But that division, like I felt bad how much we shit on that division, but
I don't think we shit on them enough.
We probably should have shit on them more. Yeah. Tennessee sucks. They got destroyed by the Bills last night. Also, why the hell are they doing?
Yeah, but that was a given. Come on, the Bills are looking the Bills are already.
So I'm a little worried about
the Bills. Have the most vengeance in their hearts out of any team after losing on that coin flip to end their season, and they've only gotten better. And
the Bills
all their players are playing like they're elevated their games.
But the Bills, are they a team that's just, once people realize how to shut down Stephon Diggs, it's kind of over? Like he's their offense right now.
Well, we'll see. I mean, you can't say that until he's been shut down.
That part's true. We're 2 games in.
What if they learn next year, right?
Yeah, there's 2 games in. And the defense legit in Buffalo as well. So
yeah, they're looking good. I mean, again, it's 2 games in, right?
Yeah, that's true.
As a villain, I love to jump to conclusions.
Last week's theme is I will not apologize to anyone. This week's theme is you are the villain.
Heroes and villains. No, there's heroes and villains.
Heroes and
The
villains.
yin and the yang, you know.
Well, let's talk about another hero, the guy that's showing out for all short guys out there. Kyler Murray, that Arizona Cardinals game. That game looked like they were done. It was boring to watch. I fell asleep during it. Came back on and I saw them score 22 unanswered points in the second half, send the Raiders down to 0-2. Your Las Vegas Raiders. You loved the Las Vegas Raiders in the preseason.
I was more of an Oakland Raiders guy, but yeah, I'm still on the Raiders.
Well, they're in Las Vegas now.
Team.
And then a scoop fumbles. Oh my God. Okay. Did you see the scoop and score in overtime?
Yes.
Okay. There's two things I want to talk about this game. The first one I want to talk about is the defensive player that scooped up that ball that was stripped and then took it into the end zone to win the game. He was 2 or 3 inches away from dropping it too early. Did you see that?
Yeah.
What is with these guys? Hold the ball until you get home.
I mean, that excitement, right? Like,
I don't give a shit about the excitement. There's no excitement if you are the most hated person in the world. Was it
Deshaun Jackson?
Deshaun Jackson dropped it early.
Yeah. And more than once, dude. And he did it in college or something.
I think he did. Somebody did it in college. I don't know if he did it in college. If he did it twice, that's embarrassing for him.
Maybe I shouldn't say that. Yeah. Maybe it wasn't him that did it twice.
But how do you still do that? We've seen guys do it now. So how do you still make that mistake? Hold on to the ball until you get into the dressing room. It's the game-winning ball.
Yeah. Don't even give it to a fan. Hold on to that ball.
Hold on to it because you don't know what's going to happen. Don't let go. Especially don't let go at the half-yard line thinking you scored a touchdown.
I think it's just their emotions take over.
I don't care what it is. Stop it. I don't need an excuse for it. I just need it to stop. Right. I understand why they do it. It's because they're excited. But don't be.
Yeah. I mean, if it was you and me, I think before we got to the goal line, we'd turn around and just start soaking it all in.
No, you would. I'd be head down, get in the end zone because I'm a hero and you're a villain. That's why. Now, the other thing is after that game, Kyler Murray went to give some high fives to some Arizona Cardinal fans, and he got hit in the face by an arm or a hand. It wasn't a fist. I watched it.
It was like
what do you think of this? They're investigating, saying somebody hit him in the face.
Well, you can see the video of it doesn't look like that vicious of a hit. You know, like the pats on the back were probably just as hard as the hit, but they're just like to his face. And I mean, from Kyler's reaction, it looked like it was deliberate because he stares down the guy who did it, allegedly to him.
He goes after him a little bit. He tries to find the guy and talk, like, he scream at him.
Yeah, but I mean, it's is it not the guy in the Raiders jersey that's
I don't
kind of
think
like looking back at him?
From what I saw, and like I wasn't there, and all I saw was the clips, I think it was a fan trying to like dap him up on the shoulders and be like, good job. And Kyler moves a little bit and the fan's hand slips from the shoulders to Kyler's face. I think it was an honest mistake. I don't think the fan was trying to hit Kyler in the face. I think he was trying to congratulate Kyler, and he just the way the events happened and the way they unfolded, he just kind of slipped and got
there's
Kyler's
a couple guys there on the video to Kyler's right in the Raiders jersey.
Right. I saw those guys too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it was one of them that kind of got him. Now, again, like I was saying, it didn't look like a punch or like a kind of an intent to hurt somebody. But
I don't think it meant to hurt him. I think it was an honest mistake. And also, the best way to make sure that this never happens again?
What's that?
Just don't fucking run up to the fans.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I like the players who support the fans and stuff, you know, like that.
Sure, but it's not like there's not every fan is going to be happy that you're there. And no fan should do anything like that. Don't get me wrong. The fans should not do anything like that. They should just be cool and enjoy the moment and enjoy the fact that there's a guy getting paid $200 million jumping into your lap. Don't do anything stupid. Don't do anything that's like aggressive. But at the same time, just you could limit these things.
What's your stance on, let's say that the guy did hit him and he punches him back in the face?
I would be okay with, if someone hit me in the face, I would want to punch them back in the face.
Yeah. I mean, I
But the
love the
thing
Ron
is
Artest.
that
I love the
that
Ron Artest thing. That's
well, that's like yes, you can't if Kyler went
But I
back
feel
after
like in
that,
the
you can't.
NFL, I feel like in the NFL, they would not take kindly to that. A player hitting a fan.
Well, no, I don't think a player hitting a fan in any sport would be okay.
No, but I mean, unprovoked is different than a retaliation, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, do you remember in hockey when I think it was Ty Domi in
Ty
the
Domi,
box
the
and
guy in the glass.
the Philly Flyer guy fell over in there and he just started feeding him with fists?
Yeah, I
No
mean
one, no one did.
that's the Flyers guy's fault because he made a very conscious effort to get into the penalty box because he
For
squirted
sure,
him in the face with water.
for
That was
sure.
what it was.
And the same thing with like
So
the
he's stepping in a no entry zone. He's out of bounds for a fan. You know.
well, anytime a fan goes after a player, like the player's got to defend themselves.
Yeah, I mean, like you see,
I just think
every
that the
now and then,
Kyler,
like you see the streaker come on the field and the player would just deck him.
yeah, I mean, I just think that Kyler like was going to do a good intention thing, wants to hang with the
He was
fans,
the
wants
hero.
to
He took the high
celebrate.
road. He took the
Took the
high
high
road.
road. He was the hero.
Give him a stare down. He didn't
But
retaliate.
you also have to keep in mind, I think, out of anybody that, hey, like there's another Raiders fan that's close by, or there's this other person that's close by that might not like it as much. Doesn't mean that he should be able to hit you in the face.
Support a team that wins, that doesn't blow their biggest lead in franchise.
Sure, that's what I mean. Is don't take it out on the other opposing team's players, but also like it's kind of a like you have to half expect celebrating in front of somebody who's angry's face sometimes gets you hit. If I beat you at something and it came an inch from your face, being super excited about it, you would push me away.
I'm gonna say that's the one place where, as a player, you won the game. You have every right to celebrate. Like so I was always as they say,
there's
like,
52 guys. There's 52 guys that are just as happy as you are on your team. Celebrate with them.
Here's a question for you, kind of a sports morality question. If you are just up by an insane margin, do you owe it to anybody to take your foot off the gas?
I think respect levels take your foot off the gas.
Yeah, go fuck yourself. I'm gonna fucking put up as many points as I can. I owe you nothing. Play better.
You don't got to know that that's going to come back to bite you at some point.
Exactly. And actions have consequences. I get it, but you're under no obligation. Like these unwritten rules of like, hey, like it's not trying to embarrass anybody. That's a choice. Like I got no problem with that. Like I remember playing sports where goal differentials meant something. Teams would yell at us for like, oh, you're up 5-0 in like soccer or something. Stop. It's like, no, I've lost out on first place before for goal differential.
Sure.
If that's like even if it's the fifth tiebreaker, the sixth tiebreaker, points for.
But if you're in a sport where goal differential matters, that's different. Then yes, run it up. But NFL is not one of those sports.
No, but my own NFL, your own individual stats means your own contract. You make all these bonuses for every individual stat you get.
Well, let me tell you this. There was a great example in the Browns-Jets games this week where Nick Chubb had the ball. It was the Browns were up, I think 6 or 7, whatever it was. Nick Chubb had the ball with 2 minutes and 15 seconds left. If he had taken a knee at the 2-yard line, they would have ran out the clock and won the game. Instead, he ran it into the end zone. The Jets got the ball back, scored, got the onside kick, scored again, won the game. If Nick Chubb had just went down at the 2-yard line, then the game would have been over. So his greed cost them the game.
Yeah, but that's a different context. He was up by 6. I'm talking if it's a blowout.
Well, I'm using this example as a segue into how Nick Chubb fucked up in the Browns loss because of it.
Yeah, I feel that's a complete different example. That's just a poor move. That was like, you remember Todd Gurley?
But you said,
Todd Gurley
hold on.
Do you remember Todd Gurley on Atlanta?
Yeah, smart move. He went down.
He did everything he could to try and not get the touchdown against Detroit, and
they let him score.
Yeah, he scored, and that just gave him enough time to get the ball back.
Sure, but you brought up the fact that contracts and like touchdowns matter and stuff like that. But Nick Chubb, do you think maybe he was trying to get more money on the contract? Because if he had just gone down, the Browns they'd be 2-0.
Right. Now that also depends on what your motivations as a player are. Are you there for the team to win? Or is this a job where you're trying to maximize your payout at your job, just like anybody else does in any other profession in the world, except for sports, where they're villainized for being selfish when everybody else at every other job Do you ever work in a team environment and try to get ahead yourself? Because I do.
Everybody should. And
Yeah.
I don't like when people complain about how much athletes make because they also bring in money to people that make more than them. So if you don't like how much athletes make, you should hate how much and like team owners make. If you're trying to play for a bigger contract, you're also not a team player, so your contracts shouldn't be as
No,
big.
and that's your actions have consequences, but you're not wrong for choosing the actions you took. I get it. You're going to get a reputation as you're a selfish player. And teams, when they want a team guy, sure, they're the ones hiring. They might not look at you the same way. That's what the consequences of your actions. But it's still your right to do so if that's what you believe.
I don't think so. I think if you're on a team, your right is to win the game, not score a touchdown. Win the game. That's all that
That's
matters.
that's the team's goal. But you're allowed to have it as
You're
an
on the
employee.
team. We're paying
You're
you
an
to be on the
you're an
team.
employee though. You're still an employee.
Yeah, so do what you're supposed to do and win the fucking game.
Your job is to play football.
Your job is to win the game by playing football. The only reason you're playing football is to win.
Yeah. Now, there's going to be different approaches to winning. The Denver guy, the coach, his approach is to mismanage the game. That's his approach to winning.
No, people are just bad at it. I think there's a
well, so he's
a
bad
fine
at
line. There's guys that go out there to get better contracts, yes, but it's not detrimental to the team. But there's also guys that are going out there to get bigger contracts that are detrimental to the team, and I think that's where you get into your your problematic situations.
Now, wasn't it last year that this exact play you were talking about? And I feel like it was Nick Chubb, or maybe that's just in my head. He did exactly what you said. He downed it instead of getting the touchdown.
It probably did happen last year. I don't know.
And his team won the game.
Yeah, winning the game.
Yeah,
that's the point of playing the game. It's the NFL is like the most team run game because everyone has to do their specific job and they all have to do it well. Whereas in basketball, like one or two guys can do it really well and carry a team. Hockey, you can have two or three guys do really well and carry a team. But NFL, everyone has to do their job properly.
I'll throw you one. Are you familiar with Formula One?
Am I familiar with Formula One? Yeah. Yes, I am.
So what about the team individual in that? The driver's motivations have nothing to do with the team's motivations. His motivations are often against the team's motivations. If you're the number two driver,
but they have to. Okay, timeout. F1 is not. It is a team-run sport, yes, but there's only two drivers within that team, and yes, there's a 1A driver and a 1B driver. They might not like what they're doing, but they're going to go based off those team instructions. Now, that's the same as the NFL right now, is that you have to do what the team wants you to do. That's why it works. It's the thing with F1 is those drivers could have different days where you don't need the 1A driver to do well because you're doing well. Whereas in the NFL, you need everybody to be playing well to do well. If somebody's weak, then the whole team is weak. If somebody on your defense is weak, the whole team is weak. Somebody on your offense is weak, the whole offense is weak. Whereas in Formula One, it's not the same. So the two sports are not comparable at all. I don't know how you got into that or if you were just trying to set me off, but it's not a comparable sport at all in any way.
We time in?
Just go.
We'll never know what my motivations were there, but
it doesn't make any sense.
Well, I'll let it go. But we'll talk about it off the air because I just think athletes, they're always going to have their own personal motivation. And that's part of the balance of managing them is to try and get them to buy into what the team wants when what the team wants isn't always what's best for the player.
Sure. And that comes down to coaching. The coaches should be able to get that player to do the best thing for the team, which could then in turn be the best thing for the player.
Yeah. Now, speaking of that, Jimmy Garoppolo's situation in San Francisco.
Yeah, we haven't talked about that at all because that is another interesting thing.
If, let's say, Trey Lance didn't get hurt,
yeah,
do you still keep Jimmy on the bench? For how long do you keep him on the bench? Trey Lance was looking better.
I think you put him in the game next game. Because I don't know if Trey Lance is winning that game.
That's what I was going to say. Like, what did they have? A field goal?
Yeah, like they were
didn't
not
convert in the red zone.
No, he was not winning that game. So it was kind of like a win-win, not a win-win, because you don't want anyone to get hurt, but having Jimmy G's in there better. Do you want to know what I noticed from when Trey Lance got hurt? When they were carting him off, they were about to snap the ball. Like he was on the 20-yard line, not off the field yet, getting carted off. And the way he was facing was towards the front of the back of the golf cart. So as he literally had to watch Jimmy Garoppolo take over for his team as he was being carted off the field on the first play, I thought it was poetic, if anything.
So you're saying Jimmy G snapped it early just so he could see.
Just so that he made sure Trey Lance saw, this is my team now.
It was his team before.
This is my team.
Trey Lance had it 100%. For what?
One game.
I was going to say 68 minutes.
Yeah. One game. And he didn't even he didn't really have them in the first game because they were terrible. They're terrible. So, but thank God they didn't trade him.
Am I mistaken? Trey Lance missed a lot of college time with an injury?
I don't know.
No. Maybe somebody else I'm thinking.
I don't know. I can't speak to that. But why? Imagine if Dak Prescott goes down and the Cowboys trade for Jimmy G last week, and then Trey Lance goes down, the Niners season's done. It's over. But now, luckily, they didn't trade Jimmy G because they couldn't trade him in the offseason because of his shoulder surgery. Now Trey Lance goes down. They're still, if not better. Like what kind of stroke of luck is that?
Now, who's the backup there in San Francisco? Because I don't know.
Is behind Jimmy G now?
I don't think Jimmy G's a 16 in this situation game quarterback.
Well, Jimmy G always seems to get hurt too. So that's a valid question. But they traded their backup, Nate Sudfeld, to the Lions. So it's a new guy that they brought in to back up Jimmy G.
Yeah. I feel like that guy's going to hit the field at some point.
You think Jimmy G goes down before the season ends?
I'm not saying like a season-ending injury.
Yeah, not a season-ending injury, but like 3 or 4 games, 2 games, 1 game.
Something like that, yeah. He seems to miss games. Like, even that time, he only had to fill in for 4 games for Tom Brady on the Pats. He only made 2.
That's true. They won a Super Bowl that year, though.
That gave Jacoby Brissett his ring.
Yeah. That's 3 quarterbacks got rings in that one season.
Well, 3 quarterbacks always get rings, though.
Well,
unless you
have to play in the game. You have to play in the season to get a ring, I believe, don't you?
I think the ownership can give a ring to anybody they want, can't they?
I actually have no idea.
Is there a rule on that?
I think there's a rule that you have to be at some point on the team, like in the game.
Yeah, but I feel like a backup is your backup QB is still your team guy, right? Because
he's there for practice. He runs the other side of the squad that goes against your defense. Like he's a valuable person, 100%. I would never say that he wouldn't be.
Yeah, but I mean, like your backup gets a ring either way, whether he hits the field or not, I'd say.
Yeah, and the backup in San Francisco now is Brock Purdy. He's a rookie from Iowa State. He's 6'1", 220 pounds. I don't know anything else about him other than that. But Brock Purdy is the new backup in San Francisco. Now, I look
forward to seeing him.
Before we talk about next week's games real quick, should we talk about Tua?
So that was one thing we talked about last week was this was a big test for Miami to see if they're for real.
Yeah.
Now, I thought so because that was a huge comeback. You talked about Arizona coming back. That game was probably the most exciting game of the season so far.
Oh, that was unbelievable, that game. Like, because you watch it and you go, I watched it and everything I was talking about with my friends was Lamar Jackson, whatever he asked for in the offseason, because this contract's coming up, he probably said, pay me $200 million over 4 years. And now, after like at halftime of Sunday's game, he probably went, hey, 200 million just went up to 300 million because I'm on fire right now. He was the best quarterback in the league up in the first 2 weeks, and they still didn't win that game.
Now, would you say Baltimore fumbled that game or Miami just came and took it from them?
I think they bumbled it because they let Tyreek, like they were down 21 points in the fourth quarter. Miami was down 21 points in the fourth quarter. Ravens were up 21 points in the fourth quarter, however you want to look at it. They did not cover Tyreek Hill at all.
No, but that's always kind of been Tyreek's game, right? Those long bombs where he just got out of reach. Because, like if he gets space, that space will only grow. Because he's going to be faster than the D-back.
But cover him. He was wide open on so many plays.
I mean, that's why he's good. No, that is his.
That is sure, but put another guy on him. Do something. You can't just let him run around.
No, you pull Lattimore. You pull Lattimore, get him and some guy kicked out.
Hey, well, at this point, probably would have been good.
That would have been good. But hey, Waddle was doing Waddle more.
Scored the game-winning touchdown with 14 seconds left.
Well, I think Waddle was doing more. He just wasn't as big of plays, but even though he had big plays of his own. Well, he wasn't getting 70. He wasn't getting 70-yard touchdowns, but
no, he was equal. Like Tyreek Hill had 190 yards for 2 receiving touchdowns. Waddle had 171 yards for 2 touchdowns. So both of them those are huge stats for wide receivers. Yeah. Tua had 4 passing touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Yeah. So how do you let that happen? That's a mistake on the Ravens defense. Yeah. And it just like the Miami defense put it together. They got stops when they needed to, and it just worked out that way. But I mean, you cannot leave Tyreek Hill. Like he was wide open, dude.
Yeah.
Wide open.
And you know what? You were criticizing Tua's arm strength, saying that there was a criticism of his arm strength.
There was. I wasn't criticizing it.
Yeah. Okay. That one bomb he threw, I think that should shut it up.
Yeah. Everybody who's ever hated Tua should shut up now because he's here and he's here to stay. That was a great
2 games in. 2 games in
of his third season. Well, they play the Bills next week. That's the game. Let's get into this because let's start talking about next week. We got 7 minutes or so left. That's the game of the week. Miami versus Buffalo. It's in Miami. Buffalo right now is favored by 5.5. Who wins that game?
Man, I think the safe choice is Buffalo, but I want to jump on this Miami bandwagon because those are exciting games. Now, this game could either be I don't know if Miami has the same defense as Buffalo. Like Miami's letting in points. How many points they score? 35 against them? 38.
Yeah, sure, 38. But it's at home too, though. And they're hot. Like I don't know who to pick in this game. Buffalo seems to be unstoppable right now, but there's a point where they're going to have to slow down.
Yeah, I think I take Buffalo just because of the defensive edge. Because Buffalo's got the offense and the defense. Like Buffalo's putting up big points.
Yeah, but the defense just did well for in the fourth quarter did well for the Dolphins.
Yeah, after they let in 38.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
and Josh Allen is better than Lamar Jackson, but Lamar Jackson was.
But I think Lamar Jackson. He had a 50-yard touchdown run.
You can't really game plan for Lamar Jackson. Like he's a different type of quarterback.
That's what
it's
I mean.
Tough to game plan for Josh Allen too.
If he sees a gap, the whole play's gone, and he's taking that. He's making that run.
Yeah. So that's the game of the week. You have the Bills winning.
Yeah, I think I'll take the Bills, but I'd like to see Miami.
Do they cover the spread?
I hate spreads.
I know you do, but that's the question.
5.5.
5.5.
They do cover it. They cover it.
I got Dolphins winning this game at home. Upset of the week. Okay, so Thursday night, Browns Steelers in Cleveland. Who wins this game, and would you even watch this game? It's on Thursday night, so I don't watch it. Do.
Yeah, I guess I do watch this game if it's on Thursday night, but taking Steelers. You know what? I don't know though.
They didn't look
Browns
great.
Even. I'm taking Browns.
I got Browns too, but I think it's by
Steelers was our one dud of the week last week.
Yeah, I got Browns too. I think Trubisky's on his way out in Pittsburgh. It's only a matter of time. But I think the Steelers cover the spread, which is 4. We got 49ers, Broncos. Fuck this game. It's at 5:20 p.m. on Sunday. So it's the night game on Sunday. We might as well talk about it because I brought it up. It's 1.5 for San Francisco favorites over the Broncos. I'd say, yeah, it's in Denver.
You know what,
Well,
though?
the
You
Denver's
could
done
see.
nothing to prove that they can win this game.
No.
So until they have something to
nothing.
prove, you can't pick them. And
But
if you did pick them, you'd just be guessing.
Here's the thing. Maybe there's a little coaching change. Not that the guy gets fired, but somebody else starts
calling plays or something. Yeah. I mean, they have to. Somebody else has to.
Yeah.
Somebody else has to. Okay, we'll start with the 10 a.m. games. I don't know why I started with 5:20, but let's start with my guys. Lions versus Vikings. The Lions did better against the Eagles than the Vikings did. The Vikings got blown out by the Eagles on Monday night. Lions only lost by 3 to them. It is in Minnesota. They're favored to win by 6 points right now. Yeah, I'm taking the Lions to win this one.
I like the Lions. I think the Lions are riding high a little bit.
Yeah, and Kirk Cousins sucks.
You got what's his name? Josh Skipper, Dan Skipper. Skipper. What is it?
Dan Skipper.
Dan Skipper. You know, he's leading that defense.
Dan Skipper.
Is he a captain?
Offense. Now? He's an offensive lineman.
He's an offensive guy. Is he leading? Yeah. Is he a captain?
No, he's not a captain. He's barely on the team. Okay. Lions. I got Lions to win. You got Lions to win. Ravens, Patriots. Patriots pulled out a boring win this past weekend. Ravens, we just talked about, lost to the Dolphins.
Patriots is going to be so boring moving forward.
Patriots.
I don't like the Patriots.
It's in New England. Baltimore's favorite to win by 3. Baltimore.
Baltimore's upset about that loss.
Oh, yeah. They're going to come let that Lamar Jackson's not going to let them lose another game. Panthers, Saints. It's in Carolina.
He's going to win that. And price is going up to $400 million.
$400 million. His price is going up. They should have signed him earlier because his price is only going to go up.
No, he's gone. I think he's gone. Somebody's going to give him the money.
Detroit Lions will.
Sure. I don't think Detroit gives money, do they? They don't pay their players.
They don't pay their players. No, they give them signing bonuses.
Speaking of that, how much did you like your boy Slay?
You know what? I love Darius Slay. I love him, and he was on fire. He should. We talked about this in the preseason. Matt Patricia gave him up.
Yeah, I know. You could have paid him. They could have paid him and kept.
They did pay him. Great. They did pay him, and then they traded him because Matt Patricia's fucking idiot. Why you gotta rile me up at the end of the episode? I don't understand this. Why you have to do that?
Well, I'm riled up for
45 minutes to rile me up. You had to rile me up at the end.
I riled you up with the F1 comment. I riled you up with everything.
God damn. Panthers, Saints. Saints favored by 3. It's in Carolina. Panthers stink.
I have no reason to think Carolina is going to beat any team in the league right now.
No, they suck. Saints win this one. Yeah. Bears, Texans, snooze fest. Oh. Bears are favored to win by 3 in Chicago. This will probably be a 9-7 victory.
I'm calling the Texans. The best they do is pull out draws this
year. Yeah. Just don't watch this game. There's no reason to watch this game. But I got Bears covering the spread. Chiefs, Colts. This would have been a good game if the Colts had shown up this year, but they haven't. So it's Chiefs are favorites by 6.5. It's in Indianapolis, though.
What's the issue with the Colts? Is it coaching or is it the quarterback? Because I feel like their offensive players are good.
I think they just haven't been able to click.
Their defensive players are good.
Yeah, they haven't clicked. It just hasn't. Matt Ryan hasn't figured it out yet.
Yeah, but I mean, last year was the same issue with their quarterback. I guess they've gone 3 quarterbacks each year.
Well, stop replacing your quarterback with an old other quarterback. Yeah. They could get why don't they go out and get Lamar Jackson?
Oh, dude, him and Jonathan Taylor just running up sidelines all day.
Yeah, it'd be amazing. Just run pass option. Just be run option.
Yeah.
I think the Chiefs destroy the Colts this week.
I think they win handedly, but it's not a destruction.
Win handedly, but it's not a destruction.
No, they win by 7 or 8.
Okay. This is going to be that game where the Colts end up winning and we look stupid for no reason. Commanders from Washington versus the Philadelphia Eagles. It's in Washington. No reason to think that the Eagles will lose this game.
Riding high. They're soaring.
They're 2-0. They're favorites by 7. Jalen Hurts looks like an MVP right now. These guys look like Super Bowl contenders. Philly wins again, covers the spread, in my opinion.
Here's I'm gonna make a bold prediction. In a year's time, any team would be much happier having Jalen Hurts than Deshaun Watson.
I agree with that statement.
Oh yeah,
right now, 100%.
I think he's looking like Deshaun Watson did before he stopped playing football.
Yeah, I agree. I think Jalen Hurts is having a great year, MVP like year, and I hope it continues because it's fun to watch. He's unstoppable. He's unstoppable when he wants to be.
Yeah, well, Geno Smith's out of the MVP race, so that opens up a spot for
Geno Smith is out of the MVP race. We got the Jets, Bengals. It's in New York. Bengals suck this year right now too. They're 0-2. Jets are 1-1. Bengals are favorites to win by 4.5, but it's in New York.
I feel like the Bengals at some point have to turn around.
It's got to be this game, right? If it's not this game, it's a long season for Cincinnati. Yeah, I think so too. But I think Bengals win. I think they cover the spread at 4.5. Titans, Raiders. Titans suck. Raiders suck, but the Raiders suck less than the Titans, right?
Theoretically, but they haven't convinced me so far.
I mean, Tennessee.
That Chargers game, the Raiders were much better in that than Arizona. I think they let that Arizona game get to their head when they were leading.
Arizona came out of nowhere. They're up by 20. They should have won that game easily. Raiders are favored to win by 2.5. I think Raiders win this. I think Tennessee stinks.
Tennessee is not looking good.
So there's no line for this next game, which I think is weird. It's Chargers, Jaguars. There's no line for it. It's in LA.
Now, what does that mean? They're just recalculating it?
I think they're just thinking about it, yeah. Now we're recording for listeners. It's Tuesday night, like midnight. So, I mean, it's just weird that this, of all games, doesn't have a line. Because you think the Chargers are better than the Jaguars. There should be a line for this.
Yeah. No, I think Chargers win this one.
I think Chargers win this one, too, by 7.
But I want the Jaguars to win.
Well, we're Jaguars guys.
We are Jaguars guys, for sure. Lions and Jaguars. Those are cat teams.
I can't cheer for two shitty teams. So sorry. I would cheer for the Chargers over the Jaguars. I can't do. You can never be a Lions and Jaguars fan.
Well, somehow you are, though, in your heart. You can put on whatever facade you want. But when your guard is down, I see the video nobody else sees. You get a big smile on your face when you say Jaguars.
Bolt up. Chargers bolt up. Seahawks, Falcons. It's in Seattle. 2.5 favorites are Seattle.
It's just.
I think Falcons win this game.
Those are two birds with no wings just pecking at each other.
It's two flightless birds at this point. I think Falcons win this one.
This could go either way. I have no idea. Like they're both
another game you don't watch, right? Just don't.
I think Seattle. I'm going with Seattle just because Seattle's won a game so far. Falcons are 0-2, no?
1-2, yeah.
Yeah.
We got Cardinals, Rams in Arizona. Rams favored by 3.5. Rams looked really good this past weekend.
Yeah, I think the Rams, like they're not a team to worry that they didn't start great. I think they'll pick it up.
I think they win this game too, yeah. I think Arizona turns around when they get Hopkins back, but right now there's no wide receivers on that team that don't drop balls. All of them drop balls. It's unbelievable. I'm going Rams to cover the spread. Spread's 3.5.
Yeah. Speaking of our former receiver from Arizona, how good did our boy Christian Kirk look for your Jaguars?
Real good. Jaguars looked good.
Oh yeah.
Jaguars look good. Winning that division. They're gonna win that division right now.
Winning that division.
Want to know? The only team in that division with a win. Unbelievable.
They're 1-1.
Yeah, but they're the only team with a win. No one else has a win.
Nobody else has a win,
which is insane because two of those teams played each other.
Well, they got a tie.
Ties are
Texans tie.
Ties are a loss. Packers, Buccaneers, Brady, Rodgers.
Already
always a
predicted
big
this.
one.
I forget.
Bucks are 2-point favorites in Tampa Bay.
I like the Bucks, but I have to go on whatever my preseason prediction was. I will not deviate from those. So I'd have to listen back to the tape. But
Packers looked good against the Bears, but I mean, the Bears are the Bears.
Bears do not.
I think Buccaneers win.
No.
Julio Jones has a big night, but there's no Evans, there's no Godwin in this game. So the Buccaneers have as many.
Perriman seemed to step it up.
Sure, but the Buccaneers and wide receivers for the Packers are even right now.
Yeah.
Because of the suspensions and the injuries. So this actually could be a pretty good game. Yeah. It's Brady versus Rodgers. Like those are the two of the best of all time. So I say Buccaneers.
You're putting Rodgers best of all time, eh?
Rodgers?
Yeah.
Like athletically, yeah, he's only got one Super Bowl though. People seem to forget that he's only got one Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Eli Manning has two. Eli Manning has two Super Bowls.
Eli Manning, you could argue, is better than Brady.
Jimmy Garoppolo has two Super Bowls.
He's beaten him every time it counts.
Jimmy Garoppolo's got two Super Bowls too. Aaron Rodgers only has one. Monday night game. Wait, who are you picking? Buccaneers or Packers?
Bucks.
Yeah, I got Bucks too. Monday night game. Giants, Cowboys. Giants are in New York. 2.5 favorites. Cowboys came out.
What happened with
the
Giants this week?
Pardon me?
What happened?
Giants are 2-0. Giants are 2-0.
Yeah. What happened in their game this week?
They beat the Panthers. They came back and beat the Panthers.
Yeah. Cowboys don't look great.
No, but they just beat the Bengals.
Worse.
The Bengals just look terrible.
Yeah, I think I'm going Giants.
Shit, I think I'm going Giants too.
Yeah.
Which a game that doesn't sound like it would be watchable. I don't know why you'd want to watch this game, but it might be close and entertaining.
Yeah.
That's all you can wish for. That's all you can wish for. Well, that's it. That's it for this week. I don't know. I got nothing else to say. You have anything you want to leave us with?
No. I think I've done enough villainy for 1 week.
Yeah, you don't need to be more anymore villain. Everyone, enjoy your week. Have fun with football. We got a huge game. Bills, Dolphins. That's the game of the week. Enjoy it. We'll see you next week on Running Down the Clock. Running Down the Clock is brought to you by the Ordinary Podcast Network and is every Thursday running until the week after the Super Bowl. We hope you enjoyed enough to subscribe and tune in again next week.